Welcome to Morning Ritual and Daily Planning for Independent Professionals, how to create a productive and joyful business and life. In this video, I'm first going to dive into some of the things that get in the way of being productive and joyful. And then I'm going to give you some solutions. I'm going to give you 7 things that I do and that I've witnessed my clients implement that have really helped them take their productivity to the next level while enjoying themselves and their work a whole lot more. Here are some of the biggest problems that I've experienced and that I see others with. Number 1 is that they start their day off all wrong. When we start our day with an alarm blaring in our ear at the crack of dawn, that is basically putting our body almost immediately into fight or flight. And then from there, we never catch up. If you're doing an alarm clock in the morning and then especially if you're snoozing that alarm clock and kind of half asleep, half awake, and then you have to drag yourself to the kitchen and down a bunch of coffee to wake up, and then you're spending the whole day trying to basically catch up, then you've already lost control of your attention. You've already basically succumbed. And then don't even get me started on first thing in the morning checking your email so that you're basically beginning your whole day with other people's priorities and other people's needs, right? So the whole reframe here is to become empowered around your time. It's a big shift of consciousness. It's a big shift of perspective away from managing life, managing business, managing clients, and controlling everything out here, and instead bringing the focus inward, managing yourself, your own energy, your own time, your own attention, and really beginning everything from that more empowered, inwardly focused place. So that's where we're going to start with my 7 steps. All right, let's go. So the first thing, it's going to seem obvious. I'm almost embarrassed to say it, but it has to be said, which is number 1 is plan your time. Now, I actually have a whole video, I have a whole series of 3 videos about how to take control of your time, plan it out, structure it, schedule it, organize it, prioritize it, etc. So I'm not going to dive deep into that here. I am going to refer you back to that series of videos. Essentially, what I'm saying is don't leave your time organization to chance based on how you feel. Know what you're going to do in every given amount of time. Now, even though I have a very structured schedule, and I'm a big fan of a very structured schedule, I'm not a big fan of a very structured schedule all the time. My Monday through Friday is very structured, and within that structure, I've built in a lot of downtime. For example, some of you know that these days I'm taking Wednesdays and leaving them wide open with no scheduled meetings, no appointments, no specific to-dos. My Wednesdays are all about creation and working on my fun, creative projects. So even though I have a very structured schedule, that Wednesday is left unstructured inside of that structure, if that makes any sense. Another thing you might want to think about in terms of planning your time is really putting into your calendar from the beginning downtime, free time, and self-care time. Personally, and this may not work for you, I'm not the biggest morning person. I don't like to jump into things and start having meetings at 9 in the morning. I did that for years because I thought I had to, because that's what other people did. And I discovered it didn't work for me. So I plan my time and I plan my mornings to give myself free time, open time, downtime in order to do the things that I want to do. I walk my dog, I do my morning practice, I meditate, I do my morning smoothie and my celery juice. All these things take time. So I have a nice long morning and I don't actually start any meetings till about 11 a.m. Number 2 is frequency first. Doesn't mean maybe what you think it means. This is a term that one of my mentors, Nani Leah Diamond, uses. She's my spiritual mentor, and she says frequency first. It's all about cultivating the feelings, the frequency, the consciousness from which you want to build everything else. So whatever it takes to feel good and positive and loving and generous and kind, plan for that first. That's why morning rituals, meditation, yoga, all of that is primary in my calendar because it helps me focus on my frequency first Because I know that when my vibe is high, then I have much more generosity, much more strategy, much more wisdom to give other people. The third thing is be intentional. And what that means is make sure that for every single thing that's on your calendar, there is an intention behind it. That there's a clarity of why it's on your calendar and what it generates. Is it a serving of your clients? Is it a way to elevate your own frequency? Like really making every single meeting, especially if it's a recurring appointment, making everything audition for that slot on your calendar. I'll give you an example. I was doing a weekly meeting with someone on my team. And we'd been doing it that way for so long that we defaulted to that and we just assumed it had to be done that way. But what I was realizing is that we were spending half of the call like chit-chatting, catching up, me listening to her tell me about her daughter, I'm telling her about my life. And the truth is, this wasn't a friend. This was an employee. This was someone that had things to go do, and I had things to go do, but we had defaulted to this weekly meeting that we just kept doing. But when I got intentional about is this meeting serving the purpose that it's meant to serve, I realized first that I could drop the meeting down to 30 minutes a week, and then later that I could switch it to I was able to switch it to bi-weekly and finally monthly meetings instead. And that we were still able to meet our intention while saving time off my calendar. Now, before I keep going, I do want to take a moment just to invite you to like this video if this is resonating with you and subscribe to my channel. Also, I'd always love to hear your comments below. The fourth thing is morning ritual. I cannot stress enough how important it is to get your day started with the right frequency. It's something that I resisted for a really long time, and I had a coach that would basically ask me every single time I met, what was my morning ritual? What am I doing every single day? To the point where it got to a place where I kept saying, oh, I'm not doing my meditation, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. And he actually said, I'm not going to keep meeting with you anymore. I'm not going to keep wasting my time if you aren't doing this most basic fundamental thing. And that's what got me to finally wake up and start doing a morning practice. Here are some ideas of ways that you can start your day. I'll remind you, one way not to start your day is with emails, FYI. But the way that I recommend starting your day is with some sort of stillness practice, some sort of quiet, whether it's prayer or meditation, some sort of stillness practice. Another thing that I do now is I have a dream journal. What I've found is that my dreams are ways that my subconscious is communicating with me. And I actually think this is true for everybody. And I forget my dreams within a half an hour of waking up, they're gone. But if I immediately wake up and write down my morning, my dreams in the morning, I can remember them. And true story, I recently woke up and had like the line of a song or a poem in my head. So I got up and wrote it down. I ended up writing this long poem that I'm now turning into a book called But I Want to Fly. So it's like a really cool children's book for adults. You'll hear more about it later, especially if you're subscribed to my channel. But that would never have happened if I hadn't had the practice of rolling out of bed and immediately writing down my dreams in my dream journal. So big, highly recommend that. Another thing you can do in the morning is put on certain music to cultivate a specific frequency, get in a certain mood, dance around, move your body, stretch, do yoga, take a walk. I walk my dog every single morning. Breathe in the fresh air, get the sunlight, sometimes the rain on my body. And those are ways to just ground and reconnect to yourself before you pop in and jump in to working and doing things for everybody else. Number 5, calendar. I like to say, if it isn't on my calendar, it doesn't exist. And what I found is that I don't need a to-do list. I don't need really any other thing besides my calendar to keep track of everything. Now, I'm not going to dive into all the different ways that I manage my Google Calendar, which is the tool that I most recommend. I will refer you back to my video series about time management. I'll link to it below so you can check it out. And in that series, I share with you exactly how I manage my calendar. But what I do is all of these things, like the morning ritual, the intentionality, the physical movement, all of that goes onto my calendar. And I actually book out, I've got time on my calendar to make my morning smoothie, walk the dog, do my meditation. And sometimes you think, oh, okay, I only need like an hour in the morning to do everything. Well, it goes pretty fast. I've found that for my morning ritual, I need at least 2 hours, sometimes even 3 hours. That's why I don't even start my day until 11 a.m. because I have calendared to be able to do all of these things in the morning. Number 6 is no social in the AM. Do not let social media or email, I'm going to put or email, I've already said it, but I want to emphasize it. Don't let those things derail your mornings. You basically are letting other people's priorities supersede yours by getting into social or email first thing in the morning. I know people, especially people with big families, they're like, well, I have to check my texts, just because there may be an emergency. I get that. All right, check your text messages. Bad news travels fast. Usually you're going to get a text about it, not an email, and certainly not find out on social media if something important has happened. So yeah, check your text messages. Make sure the earth isn't falling apart. And I highly recommend don't open the text messages. Keep them on preview. You can do up to a 4 or 5 line preview so you can see it without opening the text message, and you can see if it's something urgent or if you can wait until after your morning ritual. And then finally, my last tip is get an accountability partner. Have someone that you check in with on the regular about how you're managing your time and how you're starting your mornings. I have someone that has been tracking her meditation practice every morning for I think 700 or 800 days now. And she's got an app that's tracking it, and she shares it with our group every so often so people can see that she's still on track. She's never missed a day of meditation. Figure out a way to either have an accountability partner or an accountability tool that helps you stay accountable to all of these things. Hope that you found this helpful. If you want to dive into more practices and strategies, highly recommend checking out my time management for coaches and consultants series. It's really good.